Hello, I originally spoke about the F-104 Starfighter, the American versions, in the previous video, but these are the Japanese versions. Mold-wise, they're the same, but decal-wise, they're different. But I'm reading some internet here, and the F-104J, nicknamed the Aiko, or the Mitsubishi Pencil, by the pilots, it was an imported and licensed produced F-104G, specifically for the Japanese, Air Force. And let's see here. It was made by Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, and it basically flew up until the mid 1980s or so. Eventually, it was phased out by like the F-15, I think. F-4 and the F-15. Those eventually phased it out. Okay, so now we know. Alright, well, Freedom Compact Series. Here's the original box. So it comes with both of these. You can make two identical planes if you want, but I made with the trainer 2-seat and the single-seat fighter there. So they're the decals you can see there. And alright, so that's it for the box. Bear in mind, it doesn't come with this part. This is a different F-104 apparently for those two model kits, so it didn't come with those, and that's fine. So here's the directions for the single-seater. It's just a cockpit and a blanking cover goes there. What's cool is these little pilots. They have separate faces from the helmet, separate from a clear visor, so you can have some cool detail. And they even have like a hose for the mask if you want to put that on, which is a separate piece as well. I wish the little missiles were one piece of plastic, but you literally have to glue two halves together. I think they could have molded it different to make it one piece. The wheels do roll, by the way, but I don't really care about that. It's not my thing. And you do have the option to just blank it out, which is what I did on one of the models. Yeah, there's the blanking piece for the single cockpit. So the dual cockpit is very similar, but I have to make note here. The second pilot here has these 4 pins. And if you're not paying attention, you won't align that properly, and the whole thing will be crooked inside of the model. So I made that mistake on one of these things, or maybe it's the American versions, but not good. So that could have been designed better. The front one is using grooves, so it's much easier to align this than 4 tiny pins. That was poorly designed by whoever made this mold. Also, this wing doesn't really want to fit the vertical stabilizer very easily, but these are well designed. These wings and this engine stuff, those are all nicely fitting to each other. Everything else, I guess, is pretty good. Alright, so that's it. And then you have the liveries here. So I don't pay attention to the paint so much. I just made one look like it was silver and chrome, but in reality, it's a very lightweight, light colored gray. Although here it looks like it's more of a metal finish, this number 687. Whereas the 001 is clearly a gray model, like this. But I didn't have this light gray, so I painted a really dark gray. I don't care, it's a deformed airplane, so it doesn't need to be totally accurate for me. Yeah, as you can see, the deformation is definitely there. It's a pretty long and sleek Mitsubishi Pencil, apparently, or it looks like a dart to me. It has such small wings. I don't even understand how this thing flies. But they clearly shortened it down, and they have small wings and stuff. So I think they did a good job. All right, let's stop this thing and take a closer look. I guess we'll take a look at the 2-seat trainer fighter thing here. So I decided to just not even paint that a different color because I was debating if I was going to add the landing gear or not. And I painted these missiles red, the tips, just because I screwed up and scratched some of the white paint off and I didn't feel like repainting it. These decals are really annoying because they have this all decals have this clear film outside of the colored graphic, and that clear stuck out past this plastic, so you want to trim off the clear if you want this decal to sit right. Otherwise it's going to like try to break off because it's bigger than this plastic piece it's trying to sit on. I hand painted all this gunmetal color here after I painted it gray. Let's see. Yeah, so this is another difficult decal here. This is a long, thin strip, and it's supposed to be vertical, but you can't really do it easily. It keeps trying to buckle and fold over. So you see it's really thin there. It's just, I think it'd be better if you cut it in half and apply it in 2 parts maybe. It was really time consuming to try to get that to look straight and vertical. Those are fine. Even the missile decals were fine. Yeah, all the other decals were pretty easy to put on. I put the short kid's nose tip on here, whatever you call those things. And then so a little sticky glue holding this down. So here the pilots, these I did put the clear visors on. That visor is really supposed to be up top, I think. There's like a rectangle, and there's a slot for that rectangle up here. But I put this opaque one on. I painted it black, and then I put the visor below. But unfortunately, you know, the face is distorted because it's just a big rectangle on the back side of this thing. I kind of wish the rectangle wasn't there so you could see clearly. It doesn't come with decals for the faces. These are leftovers from a Top Gun Chen set of figures I bought, so it doesn't have any decals for the faces. The gauges, I need a flashlight. That front gauge is so far recessed, but the back one is not. And then there's flight sticks, it's grabbing it. You could put masks on them, so with hoses, but I left them off so you can see the faces, face decals. Okay, so that's pretty much that one. And yeah, if you want to roll like a Hot Wheels, you can, but I don't really care to do that. And then here we have the just single seater, and I just drilled out a hole, a 2mm hole for that steel rod. On this one I put the piece that has the machine gun there. On the trainer I just left it alone with the bulge, so you have that option there. I painted this all after I painted it silver. And this one I have the clear visor, but I painted it black on the back side, and I don't have the additional piece above. So that's why that rectangle is there that I was complaining about earlier, is to fit that groove. But yeah, I don't think it's necessary. I think you could still put that on without the groove, but that's just me. I used some AK Interactive engine washes to dirty that up. Yeah, those decals there are annoying. I didn't put the decals on the bottom of the wings because I already glued the pylons on before I painted the whole thing. So yeah, if you want these decals below, you're gonna have to leave that off and paint it separately. Put the decal on, then cut a hole and put that in after the fact. Alright, but I'm not going to look at this. I'm not going to display it upside down, so it's no big deal. Here you can see the decal slid. It's unfortunate because, yeah, it's a straight decal, but it's a cone, right? So, of course it wants to curve that way. Ideally, they would have maybe designed the decal to curve the other direction, so when you put it on the cone, it'll end up being straight, but I guess they weren't that smart or didn't care. Alright, so yeah, this is silver. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be this lighter gray, but I didn't have enough of it to paint the whole thing this color, so that's the why it looks the way it does. And you can also see there's supposed to be black paint here, like a black rectangular thing if you look back at those photos, but I don't want to run the risk of having seep under the paint, which it usually does, and then I have to end up repainting everything, so I just left that detail out. Again, it's a deformed thing. The beauty of deformed toys or model kits is it doesn't have to look perfect, right? It's just so carefree because it's not real. It's not realism. So that's why I like these things. Alright, so a few other planes, the exact same mold but the US versions. So on the US I made the trainer a flying one. And these really difficult decals to go around those cones of the end tanks there. And then I made the single fighter in landing mode here. And I skipped a lot of decals on those because I just knew they wouldn't work. They would buckle up or they would tear, so yeah. Here's an F-86 Sabre from Hasegawa's egg plane series. So it literally looks like an egg with wings. No panel details really, just a little bit here and here. So I definitely prefer the detailing of Freedom more than the basic nature. And also, this didn't come with a figure. This figure is from a different Hasegawa kit. So definitely more detail, more parts, more options by this Freedom brand. But definitely more time consuming. You know, this has so few parts and so little detail. that it's really easy to make. So it's a trade-off, I suppose. Okay, so yeah, not bad. They're not really expensive model kits, considering you get 2 airplanes. It's just the cost of an average model kit, somewhere like $15 to $20 depending on where you get it. On AliExpress, they're like $15, $16. Sometimes they go on sale for less, so that's what you want to wait for. But support your local hobby shop if you will as well. Okay, well, thanks for watching. I guess we'll see you the next time we make a Freedom model kit.